You're now tuning in to the Ambitious Views podcast, where we share unique perspectives on storytelling within film and television from the past, present, and future. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ambitious Views podcast. We are your hosts, Corrigan and
Blaze. What's up, Corrigan? How you been?
what it do? I am doing pretty good, pretty rejuvenated. What yourself?
I'm good. School hasn't been stressful, so that's good.
Yeah.
I'm about to go on a work trip, so
Mm,
that should be fun.
mm, mm,
Don't be
mm.
a hater.
Well, we are jumping into It's What's Inside. Today, there's a feature film that we'll be talking about. Blaze said, hey, you should check it out. So we checked it out about a couple weeks ago, or at least if not last Friday, a couple weeks ago. I think it was a couple weeks
Mhm.
ago, and stuff. And so very, very, very interesting film and stuff like that. And so that's what we jumping into today. It's on Netflix. So if you've seen that and you think that that was a very unique film, well, buckle up, buddy, because we
Buckle up.
jumping into it. But first, before we jump into that, of course, we got to jump into is this? And again, if you've been following us for a while, we did used to do another game, but we switching it up to what is this? Where pretty much either of us take turns sharing names of individuals, where it's the characters' names or their names, and we got to figure out what movie or TV that's associated with. So. Neither of us have won yet, but Blaze there smiling because I feel that even though she knows it's my time to win, she's gonna probably find some way to cheat. So, but
Well,
without
I mean,
further ado,
it ain't that I'm gonna find some way to cheat.
you gonna switch it up.
I feel like you be finding some way to cheat because you always change the instructions for the game.
What?
Yes, because
How?
the game was three things, and then it was like this, and then three this, and now you saying it's the characters or the actor's name.
Oh, so what did I say? Items too? Or something?
I thought you did, but apparently I made that up.
Well, you can, because I'm good like that. So you can do that too. I don't care. That makes it more interesting, actually. So
Mhm. I
yeah.
think one of these is
So
going to confuse you.
okay. All
All
right, I'm
right.
ready.
You ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
Music, gloves, and legacy.
Music, gloves, and legacy.
Mhm.
Well, the Michael Jackson movie ain't came out yet,
I knew you were going to think of that.
so it's not that. Only thing I can think of is Goofy movie. That's the only thing I can think of.
Eh, it's the
I told
Creed
you.
franchise. Music because of Tessa Thompson's character, but also like they have really good soundtracks. Gloves, boxing gloves, legacy, the legacy of his father, but also the legacy of the Rocky movies.
I told y'all she was gonna cheat. I
Big
told
brain,
y'all.
big brain.
Told y'all. It was gonna be the Goofy movie, and she switched it to Creed. That was gonna be her
No.
backup, just in case I got it
Mm-mm.
right. She's like, ooh, no, because music you got Powerline, all right, and then gloves, and then all them wear gloves,
And what
and
about the
then
legacy?
legacy is about a father and son's legacy, it's their family.
Yeah, no, I would have never said that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, well.
I
I
got you.
guess it's still 0-0. I
Yep.
guess. Cheater. Anyway,
Don't be
what's on your watch
mad.
list?
I mean, I've only watched like a little bit here and there. I on Halloween, tried to do like a little bit of marathon. And so I
Hmm.
watched a couple of new movies that are on Netflix. One
Hmm.
Time Cut, which was about this girl who goes back in time to the early 2000s. I think it was 2003, to stop her sister from being killed. It was
Hmm.
it was honestly the same plot as this movie that was on Prime that I told you about months
Hmm.
ago. That was
Hmm.
really good, but the only difference is the one that was on Prime, she went back to her mom, and it was like the 80s. But I wanted to watch this movie because early 2000s, love it. So I wanted to see how they did the early 2000s. It was okay for the most part.
Was that a black woman?
Mhm.
Is like one of the like still shots, she's like in the woods or something like that.
Say that again.
One like the still shots or whatever that they use for like the some she's in the woods. I think I
Yes.
have this.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
One of
that's
the
been on my
girls is
watch list.
from one of the girls is the black girl from Jenny and George, Georgia, and then the other black girl is from Outer Banks.
Mm, okay, okay, well, cool. Well, yeah, it's been on my watch list. We haven't gotten to it yet.
And then I also watched Woman of the Hour, which stars Anna Kendrick. I think that's her name. And I
Hmm.
think she also directed it as well, but that's
Oh.
about an actual it's based on a true story. This one episode of the dating game where they actually had a serial killer on the dating game. Right. And he won.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's this on?
This is on Netflix.
Yes, it's on my watch list.
Yeah. So it's based on a true story of this guy who was a serial killer who was on the dating game, won the dating game. Luckily, the woman that picked him, like she like picked up on something weird about him, and so she ended
Hmm.
up having like a long life and stuff, and he ended up getting caught. But the way they did the movie, I thought was pretty cool because they told the story of like kind of like what led all of them to the show, the dating game that day. But
Hmm.
then it also showed like some flashbacks and flash forwards of like his
Hmm.
crimes and how they were kind of catching up to him. And then they also included like a new character who really wasn't, you know, there in like the true story thing, but it
Hmm.
helped kind of tie everything together and what they were trying to get across. So I recommend it. It
Hmm.
was very it's eerie because it's crazy, but at the same time, I saw a tweet like a few weeks ago where somebody was like, it was so easy to be a serial killer back in like the 70s and 80s and things like that. And
Hmm.
so then watching this movie, I'm like, you know what? It really was because people
Hmm.
didn't believe you. And
Hmm.
depending on who like they victims were, they probably didn't care if you want to be
True.
honest. So I was
Yeah.
like, that's insane. But like that movie is a good example of how easy it was back then for people to just kind of get away with anything.
Wow. Yeah, that was definitely on my list. I just been forgetting about that one.
Yeah, definitely watch it.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna talk about It's What's Inside, but I watched that.
Hmm.
um, I finally watched the documentary Mr. McMahon, which I think we'll probably talk about in another episode. But for those of you who are not familiar with it, it's a documentary on Netflix about pretty much the rise and fall of Vincent McMahon. He is or was over WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment company. And so it's like I said, it's like his rise and fall. He was involved in the early stages of that documentary, but when allegations came out against him last year and earlier this year, he stopped doing the interviews.
Ah, yeah.
It's a pretty good documentary. I can't wait to
It's
talk about it.
hey, did I tell you about it first?
Yeah, well, I knew about it, but I hadn't watched it, and you told me that you started it, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, let me go and check it out.
Yeah. So just to let y'all know, because I'm behind. I have like two more episodes left. But just to kind of give you an idea of this series, if y'all enjoy The Last Dance, Mr. McMahon docuseries is like the wrestling version of that. Like, oh man, it's just all type of like if you really grew up on wrestling and that was your thing, like as a kid, it's literally like capturing all of your youth. I feel like
Hmm.
in the moment of
Yeah.
just watching that, it's so freaking good because it's just thankfully it's more than just him. It's almost kind of talks about the legacy of
Hmm.
WWE. Like it almost could have
Hmm.
been that instead of
It
just
could have
him.
been that. Yeah.
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 So
Watching it too, it was like I I was like, dang, I can remember. It got to a point where like I could remember like this stuff that was happening. I was like, dang, I was so young, but how do I remember this?
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Because basically where I stopped at there, I think they're getting ready to. I stopped on the fourth episode. It's six episodes, y'all, and I think they're getting ready to
Hmm.
talk about Chris Benoit. I think that's what they're
Yeah.
getting ready to do. So, and I was like, oh man, like here we go, like here we go
Hmm.
again, like because man, that was crazy. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, highly recommend that. I
Yes.
think that's definitely a docuseries that slept on, and I'm very surprised. I don't know if it's just because I'm not on the wrestling fan side of the social media and stuff like that, but that's a really good series. Really good. I feel like it's one of the top docuseries of the year to me.
Hmm.
So, but yeah.
And then, Netflix finally dropped the new season of Demon
Ah,
Slayer.
1,000 years later, for somebody that didn't want to read the subtitles.
And the funny thing about that is that I be having the subtitles on now when I be watching stuff.
Look at you. Look at you. It's kind of like
But
that.
see,
Did you
it's
see that TikTok where it's like now you at the age when you doing something, like when you
mm-hmm,
watching it, you like when you look away, you need
mm-hmm.
to make sure that you have that on so you can hear something, man. That is
Yes,
so
I need it.
funny.
I can't hear without it now.
Yeah, yeah. And this time of day,
Hmm. And sometimes like I'll get to the point where like I'm not even paying attention to the actions. I'm just looking at the
reading.
bottom part. Yeah, I'm just reading.
That's how it be on like because I ain't gonna lie, we've been kind of struggling through this the recent season of Love is Blind. Like we still behind. That's what I've been watching. I forgot to put on there.
Oh yeah,
Uh
I watched it too.
yeah, so we've been still kind of struggling with that. But yeah. But anyway, so did you finish Demon Slayer?
No, I'm on episode 2. Well, no, I finished
Uh,
episode 2, so I'm on episode 3.
oh, okay. Yeah, it's
I
that
just started.
season. That season is a very easy watch, but I won't spoil it.
It's it's a little slow so far.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. One of somebody I went to high school with, she was like, y'all concerned about what's going on with the country, but I'm concerned about the state of the demon court. And I was like, wait a minute, don't say nothing else. Don't say nothing else.
Yeah.
Because what is going on?
Yeah.
I also have
Yeah.
a I had an Attack on Titan joke, but I won't say it on here.
Oh, oh my goodness. Yeah, I just got one of my students to start watching Attack on Titan after I got her to watch Origin,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, but cool. And you got one more you was watching?
Yeah, I started today actually. They dropped season 2 of Sprint, which is also on Netflix. Apparently, I've just been watching a lot of Netflix. Um,
They
but
leading the
it's
game right now, man. They doing the thing.
They really are. And they was hitting us a little bit too hard. It was like every single day is something new. And I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all, I ain't got time to be watching all this stuff. I got a
Um,
life. But Sprint season two started today, November 13th. For those who are not familiar with it, it is a docu-series on Netflix about track stars who were basically like Olympic bound. And so the first part, it covered their process getting to the world championships last year, which was kind of like the first step in trying to become Olympic bound. And so this second season is like actually about the Olympic year. And so we'll get to see what their actual experience was like getting to Paris for those who do get there. Um, and what happened in Paris. I'm interested to see like what Noah Lyles is gonna say about not winning the gold medal. And I want to say the 100 is the one that he loved, and the
mhm,
200 is the one that he started doing just so that he can become a double champion. And he ended
mhm.
up getting the gold medal, I think, in one of them, and like the silver medal in the other one. So I wonder what he's gonna say about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm ready to check that season. Well, the series out. I haven't started it yet, but I definitely believe it's good. So,
It's pretty good. I didn't know that much about like track stars and stuff going into it.
hmm
And so it's a
hmm
good way to like enter that world. And what I find really fascinating about it is people's like each of the track stars' opinions of how they handle fame or handle like the added stuff of being a
hmm
track star. Some of
hmm
them are like, all I'm here to do is to run and make it to the Olympics or, win a gold medal.
Yes,
And then you have somebody
yes.
like Noah who's like, I want to be a showman. I want to be like how people look at basketball players, how people look at football players. Like, that's what I want for
hmm
track. And so seeing those two contrasts is very interesting because some people, you can tell they don't like that about him, but
hmm
I it's like I wonder how long they plan on doing this series because I want to see if if it would shape anybody's opinions to change to see how actually good that could possibly be for the
hmm
sport because yes, people get money when they win a medal at the Olympics, but after
Yes,
taxes, it's only a little bit of money. So
true.
after the Olympics, you if you really want to make money from that, you have to get endorsements and things like that. And so I feel like Noah is trying to show people that you can be a successful track star, but you can also get all of
You can be mainstream.
you can be mainstream, right? And really
hmm
get something from this instead of people making money off of you making money. And so I
hmm
hope that I wonder how this show is impacting the track community in thinking about that.
Yeah, yeah. No, that definitely makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And it kind of goes back to what, he's mentioned about, you have NBA that says world champions, but you only compete within a nation. So how does that make you
Mm-hmm.
world champions? And so, and I think, that's valid, feelings, it is. I mean, when it comes to representation and just the coverage alone,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure of how our sports are followed, like, across the world. But when it comes to representation, all this stuff like that. I mean, why can't they be like that? But I mean, if you think about it, I think the only thing is that, the experience of the athletic moment. I think the difference is he's wanting to be sports entertainment and track is just not sports entertainment. It's just
Mm-hmm.
focusing on the athleticism of just a
Mm-hmm.
few seconds.
Yeah.
And then that's it, as opposed to football, that's gonna be about an hour. Like basketball, you're gonna get about an hour out of that on
Mm-hmm.
top of whatever they do outside of their
Yeah. And it's almost like to add to that, like he's trying to capitalize on that little time that they
Mhm.
have to like before, during, and after he's trying to capitalize as much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, kudos to him
Yeah.
or more power to him, I guess, to try to see where that can go. But I mean, that's just extremely difficult.
Hmm.
And I guess outside looking in, I feel like the only way that can really happen is if I mean, the only way that I've seen that been on that level is you have to be extremely great at
Hmm.
what you do and surprise and shock the world. And Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps did that.
Hmm.
And the reason why they was able to do that because they won a lot and they broke a lot of records. And so I am curious to know, I am curious to see how he wants to move forward in trying to do that.
Right.
So
Because you gotta have the medals and stuff to back it up for people to care and listen. And I think that will be that's like he's gonna have to continue. He's gonna have to go to the LA Olympics and rack
mhm.
up. And
Yeah.
once he does that and he has a lot of medals under his belt, then people are gonna be like, you know what? I can be a showman and be an athlete, you
hmm
know?
hmm Yeah, because I mean that's just the perfect time to do it, from having Snoop being one of the ambassadors,
Hmm.
of that and everything that went around the Olympics this year and coming to LA, when how things is, which I'm interested to see how that's actually going to look at this point now.
Yeah.
When it comes to the climate of our country and having something. I am interested to see what the energy is going to be like, and then most importantly, like how everybody's going to show out. Because then on top of that too, you have the flag football component, which is so crazy. Because I
Yeah.
had just said something to Audrey. I said, "Man, it's just like football is not a part of the Olympics," and I was like, I don't know if I specifically said flag football, or I was like, I'm curious if they ever try to find a way to do that, and then boom, flag football. So.
I mean, if they could have break dancing.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Courtney,
Wish you
what's on your
retired.
watch list?
I realized I was telling Blaze before we started, like, dang, I have not shared. I don't even know if I shared much with you about all that I was able to see at the film festival. And
No,
so and so
you didn't
like,
tell me
dang, so
anything.
well, life has been life again.
Okay,
So
well,
but yeah, so my list consists of a lot of what I saw at the film festival. The first film that I saw was something that I literally took a chance on. It was the opening night screening, and it was called Space Cowboy. And the poster that was shown, it was like a car in midair and people around it. Basically,
okay.
Space Cowboy follows an individual who, and I actually like to see if I can get his name right or whatever like that, because I want to actually say his name because he's done a lot for that particular profession. Space Cowboy. All right. Joe Jennings. And so the log line, Joe Jennings, a pioneer of skydiving cinematography, looks back on creating iconic moments in film and television while he tries to turn a dreamlike vision into reality. And so, really dope. Pretty much, um, it follows the life, more so mostly professional, some personal life of Joe Jennings. He one day went skydiving with his wife because she wanted to encourage to do it, and he just fell in love with that experience and just kept going and learned how to basically work the camera along with using that to film things in the air and stuff like that. And it's just a very cool experience of just seeing a profession that kind of has you on the edge of your seat, especially if you're not big on heights. And it's just really cool. It's a really cool experience. So highly recommend that. I'm not sure if it has a distribution deal or not. It doesn't show one on IMDb, so it's probably still shopping around or still in film festivals, but it was on open night. of the Hot Springs Documentary Film Festival.
Okay.
Another film that I saw was Sherry and Lamb Chop. Blaze, I don't know, you're a tad bit younger than me, but um, I don't know if you're familiar with Sherry and Lamb Chop, but Sherry and Lamb Chop is about Sherry, who is a puppeteer and just a really big entertainer, longer than I expected. I think her career started off in the early 50s, if not late 40s, definitely early 50s. I got introduced and enjoyed the content of
Oh,
Lamb
yes.
yeah, Sherry Lamb Chop off of PBS,
Mm-hmm.
which is where she, ended her career there. And so that was really enjoyable actually to watch. It basically follows her life and tells the dynamic of her creating a lamb chop character and how that flourished, and stood the test of time over the years. So pretty cool. I'm gonna skip to another one. American Coup is a film that was shown during the film festival, and it actually has a distribution deal with PBS on the national level. It's associated, I guess, in the American Experience segment of their platform. And so, American Coup, Wellington, 1898, tells the little known story of a deadly race massacre and carefully orchestrated insurrection in North Carolina's largest city in 1898. And so basically, this basically does what it says when it comes to telling the story of how um, where the Black community was at this time in North Carolina, and particularly in this city, and how they were growing and what they were doing after the emancipation, and basically what the voting rights were at the time when it came to Black men, and how they was trying to exercise their right on the behalf of the full Black community at that time, and how white supremacy and racism played a part in trying to discourage voting, which led to a massacre. So, very informative. I do love how it connects to different things as you watch the film. And I briefly got to talk to one of the descendants of the individuals that
Oh,
is
wow.
one of the main characters of this film. Yeah.
That's pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, and this is a documentary, people, for those who are listening. So this is not fake. And I do feel like it's very ironic about the time that it came out now as opposed to what's been going on. So, but yeah, highly recommend. For right now, it seems that it is free on the PBS website. So if you're an affiliate of a local PBS station, you should be able to access it. And so if not, I highly recommend getting a passport or wherever you find it at to check it out. So, but yeah, so that was pretty cool. Um, I got to see, of course, we're going to talk about It's What's Inside. Another series, docu-series that I recently started is Hollywood Black. It's a docu-series that was created by the writer and director of Dear White People. And so that's been pretty cool to watch. It actually was already on my watch list and I've been wanting to check it out, but I didn't have MGM Plus. And so I started we started the From series this past weekend and really been loving that. And I realized that now since I had the MGM platform to watch from, Hollywood Black was on there. And so Hollywood Black pretty much is a docuseries that follows the journey of Black filmmaking and television over the years, from the aspect of actors who made great strides for Black people in film to even just film directors in general as well. And so it starts off in I think the earliest film that they start talking about it has content of, I think it's 1913
Oh, wow.
film, and then it goes all the way to now. So it's starting I think it ended in the 40s, I believe, and 40s slash early 50s. And so I'm assuming that we're going to start going into transition to Black exploitation and stuff like that, and leading up to Spike Lee's time when he came in. So But pretty cool, the director talks with Ryan Coogler, talks with Gina Prince Bythewood. Um, I think her
I
name
think
is
I
Lena
saw
Horne.
East.
Yeah,
I,
Issa Rae is in it, Lena Horne's granddaughter
okay.
is in it. And so you get to hear from her about talking about her grandmother's experience as an actor and everything like that. And Hattie McDaniel sharing a little bit more information about her because I don't think
Mm,
it's a documentary out about her, but there is one out about Sidney Poitier and stuff. And so, but yeah, highly recommend if you are interested in that. And it does talk about blackface in the sense of how things were orchestrated at that time. So it's very informative. And there's one particular word I can't think of it, but it was a way that the black community at that time would kind of mimic the way white people would dance or something like that.
mhm.
And I forgot the name of it, but it's a phrase that we be using sometimes to this day. And I'm like, wow, you just never know where stuff come from. So, but I'm gonna try to find it. Um, watch Mr. McMahon, still watching that. Highly recommend, love it. Um, the other documentary that ended off the film festival, going back to that I want to say is Luther Vandross, Never Too Much.
Oh,
Uh,
wait, you saw that at the film festival?
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So really enjoyed that. Some people were super excited about it. It was like some you can tell people like who actually got the experience like as an adult or like a teenager, like actually watch like listening to him and following him as during his career.
Mhm.
Because they was almost treating moments as if it was like they were still in concert with this. So that was kind of funny at moments, but really great film. If you enjoy his artistry and still listen to his music to this day, then um, you will definitely um, enjoy this film. Right now, it's out in selected theaters. So, say if you're not in Arkansas and select states, you'll be able to check it out. And then, um, um, I will say it's not public, but it will be released at the beginning of the year, and stuff
Okay.
like that or whatever. But that's as much as I will share with that. So, but highly, highly, highly recommend if you have a chance to see it in the local theater. So. Um, Outside of that, is the other project that we have been watching. And if you enjoy Lovecraft Country, if you like Supernatural, I did not watch Walking Dead, but I did tell Blaze that from what I've heard, The Walking Dead it's kind of like I feel like it got kind of some of those themes in as well. You will enjoy From. From is literally a film that just a TV series that just keeps blossoming. The moment that you think it's one way, it's going the next way. You just really never know. I would even say not on an extreme scale to a certain degree, even though it kind of is. It almost kind of gives you the experience of watching Attack on Titan as far as what
Oh,
they're
okay.
dealing with. Yeah, yeah, it's on that level, just like everything is out of the main character's controls, and it's just okay, what do I do to be able to overcome this? And things and storytelling wise, like Attack on Titan, things keep on blossoming where you just keep on learning about things. It's like, oh wow, this is like
Yeah.
really great writing. So
And
yeah.
how many seasons is from?
Right now it's 3 seasons. The first episode you'll be able to watch on Prime. I believe. Well, yeah, you'll be able to watch on Prime, but you'll have to do a free trial. But in order to keep watching, which happened to us, if you want to keep watching going into the second season, you will have to start an actual subscription on the spot.
On the
I
spot.
got it on the spot. It's just like if you want to continue, because it's like, oh, we can just knock this out within the 7 days or whatever like that. And it's like it had the little yellow pocketbook thing.
Oh, so you saying even with the 7-day trial, they still
Yeah.
make you pay? Oh, wow. They think they slick. They hook you in.
Yeah. I mean, Hey, it's worth it. I ain't gonna
See, that's
lie.
why I don't be watching trailers for stuff if I don't have it. Like if it's on Apple TV, I don't even watch the trailer for it because I don't have Apple
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to get
yeah,
roped in. Every
yeah,
now and then they'll catch me and I'll be like, ooh, that look kind of good.
yeah, yeah. Like we had Apple, but I stopped it just because Apple is one of those things. Even though it had good things on it, there still were other things that we was catching up on. So it's like I was just paying for something that I wasn't using.
Hmm.
But I do plan on jumping back on it beginning of the year for the Severance show,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So, because did you watch Severance? Did we talk about that?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, we should
I
watch
don't think so.
Severance. Yeah, so when like later on this year, I definitely recommend watching Severance.
Hmm.
And because
It's a television show.
yeah, it's a show on Apple. It's pretty much one of, if not their top show, I personally think. So, Ben Stiller is the executive producer of it, and
Okay.
stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this show, the way it got bought out, it was submitted to a script competition, and
Hmm.
I think Ben Stiller just happened to be there or a partner of Ben Stiller.
That's cool.
And it's not a comedy at all; it's a drama.
Okay.
And but have I told you about it?
I don't think so.
So basically, Severance, and we'll get into our main thing after this, but Severance is basically about this community that has this one place of work, place of employment, where you can go and work at this place. And basically, what happens, you'll go into the locker room, you'll set your stuff down, your personal belongings, you'll get on an elevator, and then as you're going down, you forget who you are outside of your workplace.
Oh wow.
So you don't know who you are outside of the workplace. And when you come back up, you don't know what type of work that you do. You just know you work at this place and you go there
Hmm.
to work. And so it's almost like living a double life. And it's the conversations between employees and all this stuff like that is very interesting because it's just like they wondering what they do outside. They start getting curious about things and all of that. And it's really good. And I would say this, people that are over the company know who people are outside of the company.
Hmm.
So it's not everybody.
Oh.
So
Hmm. Okay.
yeah. So it's pretty interesting. The way it ends off is definitely like, where is this about to go?
Yeah.
After that. That's how it ends. So the first season. So yeah, cool, cool. All right, y'all. We got to jump into the real take portion of our podcast. But before we get into it, I do want to say this. Denzel, aka Denzel Washington, has said in an interview that he plans to be in Black Panther 3.
Black Panther 3.
Now, for somebody that does not have a social media platform, um, and all that stuff, homie really rocked the film industry by saying that and
Yeah.
admitting that. And, you know, I'm interested to see what's going to happen after because, like I was telling Blaze, that's a very abnormal approach for anybody to share that they're getting ready to be a part of something, especially if it's like not on anybody's timeline. There wasn't, some people probably wondered if there was going to be a Black Panther 3. I personally didn't think it was going to be one at all.
I didn't
Um,
either.
like I feel like if anything, it may be not a reboot, but just like a later on continuation, maybe after Secret Wars. Like, say if like Chadwick Boseman, uh, T'Challa's son ends up becoming, Black Panther like after Secret Wars because it's like a time jump or something like that. Who knows?
Hmm.
But because we got that with Endgame with it being 5 years later, and so
Yeah.
I was very surprised about that, and I really wished I could have been a fly on the wall in the Marvel offices because I don't know. It just didn't seem like that was supposed to be out there unless it's like Marvel is trying to shake things up and let it be known, yeah, we letting you know ahead of time. That's what we plan on doing.
Well, I think it's because he made his announcement about his retirement. Like, I'm
Yeah.
doing 9 films and then I'm done. And these are the 9 films that I'm doing, so y'all know. And
Yeah.
so I think that they probably were like, well, I guess we got to let people know.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely very interesting. Um, this will definitely be a moment where I wished I read comic books, which I do want to get into later on. Well, not later on, but well, I want to get into one day because it's just like, okay, if he's being casted in it, like what character is he gonna be like like say he's, works for the CIA or something like that, and he's trying to crack down on, you know, Wakanda or whatever like that, or is he a villain that, we don't know of? Like that is very that was, if anybody want to pull a Joker on somebody, I was definitely not expecting that. Um, but I do feel like it'll be a very dope dynamic for him to be in that type of space because I've heard really great things from him being in the new Gladiator 2
Mhm.
movie. And so I'm definitely interested to see, as long as everything works out, because that got to be a 2028, 29 type of project.
Mhm.
Because we already know what's happening all the way to 2026. Um, so I'm interested to see what will happen from this. So, but but all right, Blaze, let's jump into it's what's inside for the real take
Yeah, buddy.
this evening. I'm gonna let you take the reins on just bringing us into this world that Netflix has shared with us.
Okay. So, It's What's Inside is a fairly new movie on Netflix. It's horror, I guess you could say, thriller, suspense, like mystery. Yeah, it's a little mystery in there.
A little mystery, a
Um,
little bit.
but it's about this group of friends who have this reunion essentially for one of their friends that's getting married. And one of the friends shows up and he's like, "Hey, I got this game for us to play." Um, and
Very weird.
it's not Monopoly, it's not
Right.
Uno, it's not even
Not
Clue,
dominoes.
it's not Dominoes, it's not Spades. It's a game in which people switch not bodies, but like mind, would you say?
Yes.
Yeah, like they're switching their minds. And so they do it one
Yes.
time and they're like, whoa, what the heck? And then after they do it that one time, he's like, what I usually do is play werewolf. And if you're not familiar with
Hmm.
werewolf or mafia, basically somebody in a group of friends is considered to be the werewolf, and everybody's trying to
Hmm.
figure out who the werewolf is. And so in this particular game, they're trying to guess who is in whose body,
Body.
whose mind is in whose body. And
Hmm.
so that sounds simple, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
could happen? What could happen?
What can
Um,
happen?
and then quickly we realize there's something else going on here. You got people lying about whose body they're in. You got people cheating while they in somebody else's mind. Um, you got death.
Oh man.
You got this crazy backstory that if you're not paying attention, you should have been paying attention.
Yes.
But it's a very
Yes.
trippy movie. Um, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, "What is this about?" I couldn't figure out what it was about just from the trailer, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and check it out because I noticed some people who have been in things that I like. Like one guy was in the Sabrina show that was on Netflix.
Hmm.
Brittany O'Grady was in Star. Um,
Hmm.
and then another girl was in The 100. So I was like, I'll check this out.
Hmm.
I'm so happy that I did. And as soon as it went off, I like immediately text Corgan and was like, "You have to watch this movie."
It was trippy. I didn't know what to expect. I did forget. about that I wanted this on. Well, I put this on our watch list, but I hadn't thought about, a good moment to check it out because sometimes it's just like you be in certain moods, certain vibes, and it's just like what's gonna hit. So yeah, like Blaze randomly texted me, it's like, hey, y'all should watch this. And I was like, hmm. And lo and behold, we went on and jumped straight on into it. I think that same day,
Mhm. Oh,
and stuff like
really?
that. Yeah, I think it was like that same night because I think you missed me that Friday. If not Friday to Thursday, but I think it
It
was
was
that Friday.
Thursday.
It
Yeah.
was Thursday, so we jumped into it, I think, that next day at Friday.
Yeah.
And man, unless it was Thursday. And yeah, it was not what I expected at all. It definitely was trippy. I feel like it was a very daring film for it to be an independent film.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting that.
Like who came up with this?
Yes.
Because like you said, for an independent film, very daring, but at the same time, like that's also where people do a lot of, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
interesting and new things is in independence because you got to see where it works.
Yeah, it reminded me of Everything Everywhere All at Once. And
Hmm.
it was another film that came to mind. Gosh, I can't think of it. Um, and it's almost kind of like the other film. I can't think about it, the name, and it's not the one I was just originally thinking about, but it's when the realities they couldn't tell. It got to a point that you could easily get confused of like what was real, what wasn't.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
That's why I
I
told
don't
you when I text you, I was like, you got to pay attention.
Yeah, like it was wild. Like, and I will say that, it definitely falls into, I'm guessing that's just a new style of how it ended. How did you feel about the way it ended? Or what did you think was gonna happen as
I
it kept on
had
going forward?
I had no clue how it was going to end. And so, okay, spoiler alert. We're gonna just talk about things
Oh
that
yeah, we
actually
getting
happened.
into it. We getting into it. Yeah.
So I know that like when they constantly keep talking about something, like we should pay attention to it, but I did not realize that that's what they were gonna do is have the sister and the brother. I was like, whoa, wait
Yes.
a minute.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
and when he said like when the sister showed up, but it was actually the brother inside, I was like, oh, everything is making sense now because
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
why did he lie in the first place? And then Dude Money went missing. And I was like, oh, snap.
Yep. Yep. As soon as because I think I called it early. I was like, the brother is in the sister body. And as soon as I caught that and gave a big the real backstory on the sister, I was like, the sister just got that money. That's what happened. And
Hmm.
sure enough, it's gone. And um dang, what was the other thing? And it makes sense because it was early on in the film when one of the guys was basically kind of apologizing for what no. He was basically sharing about, almost oversharing about his, where they at in a relationship and all this
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
whatever.
Hmm.
And then he was like, okay.
Yeah. Like, okay. And I think if it was really him, it would have been a different reaction. So
Hmm.
yeah. I
Hmm.
was like, dang, that's something I should have picked up on from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy,
It,
crazy,
it
crazy.
it definitely was interesting. How did you feel about the girlfriend
Shelby.
was it
I think
Shelby?
Shelby.
Okay, yeah, Shelby. How like were you expecting her to act in that type of way or react?
No.
Yeah, yeah,
I expected her when she got into Nikki's body, I expected that from her completely because she was already obsessed with Nikki.
yeah.
I was I couldn't believe that she like was cool with letting I mean, sure, her boyfriend sucked, but like she was cool with letting this man go to jail for murder just
That
because
he
he
did not
wasted her
do.
time for like 8 years. She was like, okay, bye.
I was like, wow, because she got her body back. Yeah,
Yeah, she got back in her body. 'Cause I think Did she? Yeah, she made a deal with the sister, I
Yeah.
think.
Well, it was a deal, but I feel like it could have went either way, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, because pretty much at the end of the day, like the sister could have pretty much just switched everybody up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really felt bad for what was the one's name that she switched in? Was it Nikki's body that she switched into?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
really felt bad for
The
Nikki.
I did too because it don't seem like she was a bad person or anything. And
Mm-mm.
they just stole that girl body. Like what?
Yes.
No,
A full
what was so
hijack.
crazy to me was like after Ruben and I think it was Maya, after
Mm-hmm.
they died
Ugh.
in the other people's body. And the girl was like, well, my body's going, so I'm gonna just stay in this one. Okay, that makes sense because the girl that died, you are in her body, so that makes sense. But they was trying to figure out like what to do about Dennis because he was still
Yeah.
alive, but his body was gone. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
the logical thing is he goes into Ruben's body. And they was
Since y'all
like,
best friends, like,
exactly. And I was like, what do y'all mean? Y'all can't just hold somebody's body hostage. Give me my body back. And Shelby was like, no, Nikki, I'm gonna stay in your body. No, you're not. Give me my body. I
yeah,
didn't
like,
die. So why would you stay in my body? And you didn't die. Give me my body back.
yeah, like everybody want to be Nikki, man. Everybody
Everybody
want to
wanted
be
to be
Nikki.
Nikki. I
And
mean,
Nikki
she
was
was a
just
little
minding her
influencer.
business.
Right. And her but she ended up getting stuck in Ruben's body and now she gotta get
Ah.
married. So
Well, of course,
crazy.
it's looked like they wasn't gonna give. I think that
Right.
I really wish they would have let us know what was said, because it almost made it seem like did they get rid of the body and cover it up because she like that like she was crying, but it wasn't like hysterical crying. It was almost like she was crying because she felt like she wasn't getting married.
But wasn't the police there?
They were,
I think the police were there. So I think
yeah,
the bride was crying because it was a crime scene at the wedding.
yeah,
That's how I took it. But also I can see that maybe Ruben was like, yeah, we're not getting married anymore.
yeah, yeah. That
And how do you
was
even tell people
wow.
like, so my name is Nikki, but this is not my like, people are gonna think you're crazy. You're gonna, oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, I could see them, and it was almost kind of on the comical side. I haven't watched the second Knives Out, but it's almost kind of give you that kind of passive comedy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I can laugh at this moment. This is kind of goofy.
Mm-hmm. It
And
reminded me, oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it reminded me a little bit of Bodies, 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 the A24 film.
See, I haven't watched that, but we almost watched it not too long ago.
Mhm.
I could see that because it seemed like it was kind of like almost not the same thing, but it's kind of like the
Yeah,
that
I
type
thought it
of
was gonna be
South
like
comedy.
Bodies, 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 which very different plots, but like the feel of it is kind of the same.
Mm, mm, wow. Yeah, this one was a wild one, man. I was not well, I wouldn't say I was not expecting it, but I was curious to know like um where this was going to go and stuff like that. And I mean, you know, it seems like this director comes from a very creative background when it
Yeah,
comes
I
to
was
things.
just about to say, do you know
Yeah.
anything about the director? Because he also
So he
wrote it.
Yeah, so he was the director of Cowboy Bebop: The Lost Session, which is based off of anime um, and stuff, and then I feel like it was something else that I saw. Gosh, what was it? What was it? I don't know, but I wonder, was he ever interested in, like, how much influence did he take, or how much was he influenced from the Everything Everywhere All at Once
Hmm.
film? Because that's what it gave me the most feeling of,
Hmm.
to a certain degree or whatever. That's the most that I can, more so like the use of colors
Hmm.
in random moments and stuff like that. Like it didn't have to go with the actual vibe, but just I want the color just because I wanted the direction with the camera direction. Like I'm curious about, was that originally his idea, or was there kind of like a really cool approach to where the DP of it wanted to move it, because especially the movement early on, it was like, oh, they're really getting it, they're really moving. And
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
one of my
Yeah.
favorite
Mhm.
I guess camera choices or style choices that they had was when Shelby and Cyrus were in Nikki and what's the guy's name?
Mm.
The guy that brought the device.
Shoot, Forbes.
Forbes, yeah, they were in their body, and he Cyrus pulled her aside, and they went into like this room,
Hmm.
and it was like the camera showed
What was
Shelby
really
and
there?
yeah, it showed them what was really there. That was so cool to see. I thought that
Hmm.
was a really nice choice because it was
Yeah.
like at one like the regular view was them in the other people's bodies, but then there was like the colors and stuff, and it
Hmm.
showed who was really inside.
Yeah, I wondered, was that a where they encouraged, what at what point did he feel like that was needed? Or did, because sometimes when you see stuff like that, sometimes they don't always remind the audience of who is talking when certain stuff
Mm-hmm.
like this happens. So it made me wonder, like, did he kind of feel like off top that this was like the
Ooh.
best thing to do, or is it a rule to that?
No, that's a good point because early on, the first time they switched, they 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 told us who they were. And then the
Right.
first time they played the game, that's when I got confused because
Hmm.
um the sister lied about whose body she
Hmm.
was in. And so that threw me off that whole time. But and
Yep.
they never did a scene like that where they show who was really inside. And I don't think they did that until like later on down into the movie. So I think that
Hmm.
was a specific choice by them. And that was really smart
Hmm.
because the people like them playing the game, they're kind of confused. And so we should also
Yeah.
kind of be confused as the audience. So that was
Hmm.
smart. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's already a bold concept,
Hmm.
and so, like, I think it was smart to like make sure that like you can like it's okay for your audience, like picking when you want your audience to be confused and not knowing,
Hmm.
and when not to be, as far as sleight of hands type of thing. And so, I think they did a great job from the aspect of knowing when to confuse, to allow us to be just like the characters, not knowing who is who, but then also making sure that you are not in the knowing of every single thing. So therefore, you get the big boom at the end when it's like,
Yeah.
oh snap, like that's not
Hmm.
even Forbes, that's his sister.
Right.
So.
Like we felt like we were a part of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it basically it definitely just gave you cool game vibes. Like you just kind of in it with them at that moment, see what's going on. I figured that there was going to be something crazy happen or whatever like that, but I definitely
Yeah.
wasn't expecting people to
No.
not only die but die in that way. But then even with
Right.
that, like, how will you even get to that point if all y'all doing is playing the game? I know y'all got crushes on somebody else and wish to have been to somebody else instead of the other person, but how does it go from there? So yeah.
Right. I mean, because when that moment was happening, I was like, this is a horrible idea. This is a horrible oh. I was like, did that really just happen? And then I was like, oh snap,
Yeah,
wait, they in somebody else's body. So who
yeah,
dies? You know?
yeah. And oh, that's what it is. Saltburn.
Hmm.
That's the other thing that it reminds me of. I think it's called Saltburn. It has kind of like this very dark comedy type of approach to it, and kind of like you don't
Hmm.
know where things are gonna go. Thing. So, I think that's on Amazon Prime. So, but yeah, Blaze, you picked one.
Yeah.
Oh man. Any more
No,
thoughts
it's
on
definitely one of those
this?
movies like I wouldn't mind watching it again.
Really? Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Honestly, depending on how they would do it, I wouldn't be I can see them doing a part two
Hmm.
to this.
Right. Like the
Possibly or
sister
whatever.
can, because the line that the sister said about how once you start switching into people, you can it gets kind of addicting. And so she can go find another group of people. She can throw she's in Nikki's body. Nikki is an influencer. She can throw like an influencer party, invite all
Yeah.
these other influencers and switch into one of the oh yes, they could definitely do a part two.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just be a whole big thing because apparently because the brother had to have money to even design something like that. So saying
Hmm.
getting the authorities involved and it's like a whole national chase, like it could be a big pretty thing, it's just interesting how it
Hmm.
will end, which I'm assuming it'll be probably dark.
Yeah. And
Oh
I
wow.
like that they did not go into detail about the science of it because baby, I don't care. Let's play like first of all, let's not
Yeah,
play the game because I would have just had too many
yeah.
questions. Like you telling me that your partners just let you take something like this out into the world? Has this been
Mhm.
tested? What does the government say about this? What are
Yes.
doctors saying? Like I'm not finna switch my mind with nobody. I'll watch y'all,
Yeah.
but not me.
Yeah. No, not at all. Did you ever watch
Mhm.
Gone Girl?
Yes.
The Nikki driving off, or quotations, Nikki driving off. That
Hmm.
reminded me of Gone Girl when they showed the wife drive and
Driving
stuff
off.
like that. Yeah, so that was pretty trippy. This was some Blaze. Highly recommend y'all if y'all haven't seen it. It's definitely a fun watch, especially with
Hmm.
friends. It's not that long at all. It's
Yeah.
like an hour and 43 minutes and stuff like that. And
And
so,
pay attention.
yeah, pay attention because if
You
not, you
gotta
might
pay
get
attention.
annoyed. So yeah, make sure you check that out. So. But other than that, I ain't got nothing else, Blaze, and stuff. So, but thank y'all for tuning in again. Also, thank you all whoever has voted for us. I think we won't be able to make the award ceremony, but I think they'll be announcing the winners on tomorrow evening, I believe. So, no matter what, we just really appreciate you all. I know for those of you who actually look forward to our episodes, sorry up front for not having as many episodes this year.
Hmm.
But I think that, going into the end of this year, we will be catching up because we have Gladiator, we have what's that? What's that? Not The Wiz.
Wicked.
Wicked. I think there's another film coming out or whatever. So Moana 2 is getting ready
Hmm.
to come out and stuff like that. And, of course, we're going to be talking about Mr. McMahon. We're going to be just talking about a lot of things and stuff like that. So, definitely going to be ending the year strong and then going into the next year and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to it because there's a lot of things coming about for next year, especially for Marvel, especially for stuff that Ryan Coogler has. Stranger Things, the last season will be coming out as well. So much, big time content that's coming out. So, and who knows, I don't know who else is going to be saying they're going to be in a Marvel movie. You just never know.
Right. You
So
never know.
you never know. Michael Jordan said he might be coming through. I don't know. Who knows? So, but other than that, appreciate y'all so much. Hope y'all have a great rest of the end of the year. Stay safe, love on your family members. We know that sometimes this time of the year can be, a little difficult, unfortunately, when it comes to finally being able to have, intentional time with family. So, hope y'all have a great morning, noon, or night. and hope y'all be able to check back in with us later on. Other than that,
Peace.
peace.